This is Fox 28 News at 10, the Coastal Source.
And welcome back, everybody. It turns out that we have a Savannah connection to the two American journalists who were freed by North Korea. Evidently, they returned to family and friends today after being held captive for nearly 5 months. Laura Ling and Yuna Lee say they were afraid that they could be sent to a labor camp at any time, but instead, well, they say they were shocked when they were brought to a room Tuesday and saw former President Bill Clinton. And joining me now is Jeff Manley, who was personally touched by this story because you used to work with Laura. Give us some background as to how you two met and where you started working together. This is an unbelievable story.
Well, I met Laura about 9 years ago. She and I both worked for a company that did news programming for junior highs and high schools called Channel 1 Network. And the production was done in Los Angeles. And at that point, I had just started working for the company. Laura was working as a producer there. And her sister, Lisa Ling, had just recently left Channel 1 News to go to The View. But when I first met Laura, I did not know she was Lisa Ling's sister. I just knew she was this very nice producer who was basically helping me learn my way around a new job.
Unbelievable. And what was she like as a person?
I think she was very kind. She also had a lot of integrity when she was putting a story together. She wanted to make sure she got a good story. And she was also very aware of like her family and being kind to people like that as well, and making sure. I thought she did a great job of making sure that her job didn't overwhelm her life either, that she kept to focus on her family and friends.
All right, so you're sitting at home and you hear on television that two American journalists have been taken hostage in North Korea. At what point do you make the connection that it's Laura, and then all of a sudden it affects you a little bit more personally?
Well, I made the connection after I just did a general search on Google News just to see what was happening for the day. And I see that it's because they list Laura's name as a Laura Ling captured by North Korean journalists. And I thought, oh my God, that's my friend. What happened to her? She's like caught, got captured by North Koreans. And then so I called a coworker that I used to work with at my old job to confirm this. And he said, yeah, he'd heard it was true. And he had talked to some people, but they didn't really have any other information other than that.
So what did it feel like? I mean, it's different for us as journalists to do stories on situations like this, but to be personally involved, it must have an awkward feeling. I mean, I can't imagine what that would be like.
Well, I mean, at first it was kind of like a pit in my stomach. I had worked with her in Edit Bays working on stories where she would go to other international places, and so it was always like a kind of a removed view. And even if there was any kind of dangers that she would have involved, that she was encountered while she was investigating, by that time she was back home, everything was safe, and we were putting together a story. At this point, basically she's in the middle of a story and there's nothing that can be done, and I'm sitting there going, wow, here's a friend that's captured and there's nothing I can do, and there's no information that we can get.
Wow. So did you call the family to try to find out more information, or where'd you go from there?
We did try to call the family. We tried to put a call into her mother, didn't hear anything back. My partner and I, because my partner also worked with her mom on some projects that were at her hospital. And so we tried to get in contact with her, didn't hear anything back. And at that point we realized they were probably being bombarded from everybody, so that we would just sit tight, keep them in our prayers, and just try to keep updated on the information.
I see. Now, the station that you guys were working for at the time was owned by Al Gore, correct?
Oh, no, that's the station that Laura ended up going to work for when the company that we were working for ended up closing the facilities and moving to Washington, D.C.
Okay, so you two worked at one station, and then she moved on to work for the Gore station, which then sent her to North Korea.
Well, she went to Current TV to basically oversee the investigative journalism segment for Current TV. And at that point, she had gone to several different locations.
I see.
And I know her sister, Lisa Ling, had gone to North Korea at one point to do something for the National Geographic Channel.
I see.
So they both had a history of trying to do these investigative reports dealing with basically human issues or people, human rights issues.
So now, have you seen the video since she's been home? Actually,
I was watching it this morning, and I called into our store and told the people, oh, you need to open the store. I have to sit here. I have to see this video. I really needed to see her get off the plane. And
how'd that feel? I can't imagine.
It was exciting. I was so glad to see her with her mother and all that, because when we would work late nights, at the old job. If it was like past dinner, her mom would call to make sure that she had dinner, that she was fine, and if the schedule allowed it, she would actually, on dinner breaks, leave the studio and go home to spend time with her family. And at times, then her fiance at the time, who they married, would bring in dinner. So
Wow.
I just knew that how much their family must have really hurt.
Yeah.
That she was when she was captured. So I just couldn't wait to see them reunite.
So at this point, you plan on calling her? We have about 15 seconds.
Yes, oh, yes. So give her a few days, right, for everything to go by, for her to get time with her family, and then we'll give her a call.
Oh, that's awesome. All righty. Well, be sure and tell her our thoughts and prayers are with her, and we're so happy that it had a happy ending.
Well, thank you.
All righty. We appreciate you coming in, Jeff.
Thank you.
All righty. Take care, and we'll be right back. Stay with us.